Do we really believe that Jason Morgan, the ultimate protector, would just walk away and leave Sonny completely vulnerable to the wolves circling his empire? No, that is not how Jason operates. He might be stepping down from his official enforcer role, but he is absolutely not abandoning the people he considers family. A new detail could expose the truth about his real agenda, proving that Jason is orchestrating a master plan from the shadows to ensure Sonny's survival. Let us look at the first major clue that points to a massive hidden agenda. Almost immediately upon his return, Jason expressed deep, unmistakable concern over Sonny's blind trust in Ric Lansing and Ethan Lovett. Right now, both Ric and Ethan are working closely with Sonny, and Sonny genuinely believes they are reliable allies in this incredibly volatile period. Ethan even took a bullet to the backside to protect Ava Jerome, which seems to have earned him some serious points in Sonny's book. But Jason sees the board from a completely different angle. With decades of experience navigating the treacherous, blood-soaked waters of the mob underworld, Jason knows that a person's dark past cannot be erased by a few convenient good deeds. Something feels off about how quickly Ric and Ethan have integrated themselves into Sonny's inner circle. Jason knows Ric's extensive history of manipulation, betrayal, and self-serving legal maneuvers. Ric has always played both sides of the fence whenever it suited his ultimate goals. Similarly, Ethan Lovett has always possessed a mercenary streak. He is a survivor, a grifter by nature, and his loyalties have historically belonged to the highest bidder or whoever can guarantee his safety. Jason's immediate, laser-focused suspicion on these two men is a massive red flag that we cannot ignore. Jason knows that putting blind faith in men who have repeatedly proven to be unpredictable is a recipe for absolute disaster. And it may not be a coincidence that Jason is not the only one feeling this extreme sense of paranoia. We have to talk about Brick. Brick is arguably one of Sonny's most fiercely loyal, calculating, and tight-lipped lieutenants. While Brick might not be publicly screaming from the rooftops about his distrust for Ric and Ethan, you can bet your bottom dollar he is silently keeping his distance. If you ask me, Brick is deliberately blocking Ric and Ethan from accessing any highly sensitive operations or top-secret information within the Corinthos organization. Brick knows that in their line of work, a single misplaced ounce of trust, or one tiny miscalculation, could cause Sonny's entire empire to crumble into dust. Brick is watching, waiting, and analyzing every single move Ric and Ethan make, serving as a silent firewall against potential betrayal. But that's where things become interesting. While Brick plays the silent sentinel, Jason Morgan has never been one to sit back and quietly observe when his best friend's life is on the line. Jason is a man of action. I firmly believe that Jason is going to march right up to Sonny and lay all his cards on the table. He is going to explicitly warn Sonny to severely limit the power and access that Ric and Ethan currently enjoy before it is entirely too late. Jason will remind Sonny, in no uncertain terms, that true loyalty is forged in fire and proven over years of unwavering dedication, not just handed out because someone showed up at the right time or took a stray bullet for an associate. We already know Sonny is fiercely defending Ric Lansing to Jason, insisting that Jason needs to get along with him. This creates a fascinating, high-stakes tension between the two lifelong friends. Sonny is desperately trying to hold his fractured world together, grasping at whoever is willing to stand by his side during these chaotic times. But Jason's warning is not born out of jealousy or a desire for control. It is born out of raw survival instinct. Jason can smell a rat from a mile away. If this detail is true, it explains exactly why Jason is so hesitant to fully detach himself from the mob. He knows Sonny is walking blindfolded through a minefield, and Jason simply cannot allow his brother to be blown to pieces by the very people claiming to protect him. However, Jason Morgan is not the type of man to just point out a glaring vulnerability without offering a bulletproof solution. He wouldn't just tell Sonny to fire his current allies and leave himself exposed to his enemy. No, Jason would bring in a replacement. He would propose recruiting someone entirely new to the inner circle, someone that Jason himself is willing to vouch for with his own life. And guys, this is where the puzzle pieces start snapping together in the most shocking way possible. The name I am looking at right now is Tristan. Let us rewind and look at the facts. We all remember how Tristan made his highly anticipated debut in Port Charles. He arrived on the exact same flight as Jason Morgan. Out of all the flights, all the days, and all the circumstances, they arrived together. It may not be a coincidence. In the world of General Hospital, the writers do not just randomly place two characters on the same plane unless there is a deep, profound connection between them. This deliberate introduction screams that Jason and Tristan share a history that we are not yet privy to. Perhaps they crossed paths during Jason's grueling WSB captivity, or maybe they survived a classified off-the-books mission together. Even Tristan's immediate interactions in Port Charles are highly suspicious. He immediately clashed with Britt Westbourne, showing a fiery, stubborn personality that doesn't quite fit the mold of a standard by-the-book promising new surgeon. There is a raw, unpolished edge to Tristan that suggests he has seen combat, danger, and the darker side of life. The connection to Jason is palpable, and Jason's unspoken endorsement of this newcomer speaks volumes about Tristan's true capabilities. There may be more to this story. What if the connection between Jason and Tristan is infinitely deeper, more personal, and far more explosive than a simple WSB alliance? Hold on to your seats, because here is the big reveal theory that could change the landscape of Port Charles forever. What if Dr. Tristan Roberts is not just a promising new surgeon? What if Tristan is actually Morgan Corinthos, living under a completely new face and a meticulously crafted false identity? Think about the profound emotional weight of this possibility. We recently saw Carly Spencer crying her eyes out by Jocelyn Jax's hospital bed, begging her daughter to leave the dangerous world of the WSB. Carly explicitly stated that she could not bear the agony of losing another child after the tragic, soul-crushing death of Morgan Corinthos. The writers are deliberately bringing Morgan's name back into the emotional forefront of the canvas. They are actively reminding the audience of the gaping hole his supposed death left in the Corinthos family. This could explain a lot about the timing of Tristan's arrival. The narrative is emotionally priming us for a resurrection that will shatter the status quo. If Tristan is indeed Morgan, why the elaborate disguise? Why the new face and the medical degree cover story? The bigger question is what kind of lethal danger Morgan has been running from all these years. It is highly probable that Morgan survived the car bomb, but was swept up into a highly classified, incredibly dangerous covert operation. He might still be executing a secret mission, or he could be actively hiding from a ruthless syndicate that would instantly target his family if they knew he was breathing. By completely altering his physical appearance, changing his name to Tristan, and embedding himself at General Hospital, Morgan can operate in plain sight without drawing the deadly attention of his family's worst enemies. And that brings us right back to Jason Morgan. If anyone in the world could discover Morgan's true identity and keep it an absolute secret, it is Jason. I am convinced that Jason is one of the very few people on Earth who knows that Tristan is actually Morgan Corinthos. This completely justifies why Jason instantly trusts Tristan and is actively maneuvering to place him by Sonny's side. Jason knows that if Sonny needs an ultimate protector, someone whose loyalty is absolute, unconditional, and bound by blood, there is no one better suited for the job than Sonny's own flesh and blood. Jason is essentially smuggling Sonny's son back into his life under the guise of a trusted new recruit. If this massive theory proves to be true, the aftermath will be nothing short of seismic. Imagine the moment Sonny Corinthos finally learns the truth. I do not believe this will be a public revelation in the middle of the Metro Court. No, this will happen behind closed doors in the dimly lit office of Sonny's restaurant or his private study. Jason, realizing the intense pressure Sonny is under, will look his best friend in the eye and reveal the greatest secret of all. He will tell Sonny that the young man he brought in, the man named Tristan, is his beloved son, Morgan. The emotional fallout for Sonny would be staggering. We are talking about a man who has carried the agonizing guilt of Morgan's death on his shoulders for years. To discover that his boy is alive, standing right in front of him, and actively working to protect his empire. Sonny would be overwhelmed with a profound, earth-shattering sense of relief and gratitude. But who stands to lose if this secret gets out? everyone who wishes harm upon the Corinthos family. If Morgan's identity is exposed prematurely, he instantly becomes a prime target. His enemies would stop at nothing to finish the job they started years ago. That is exactly why Sonny will make the hardest decision of his life. He will keep his own son's survival a closely guarded secret. Instead of pulling Morgan into a tearful, public embrace and shouting the miracle from the rooftops, Sonny will play along with the charade. He will treat Tristan as just another highly capable, trusted employee. This allows Morgan to safely reintegrate into the dangerous ecosystem of Port Charles. On the surface, Tristan is merely Jason's hand-picked prodigy. But in the shadows, he is Morgan Corinthos, the prodigal son who has returned to aggressively defend his father's throne from the inside out. We may be looking at the beginning of something huge. The pieces are moving into place with terrifying precision. Jason's strategic withdrawal from the mob, his calculated warnings about Ric and Ethan, Bric's silent vigilance, and the highly suspicious arrival of Tristan all point to a masterstroke of deception. The truth could be closer than anyone realizes, hiding behind a new face and a stolen name. Someone may not be ready for what's coming next, but the shadows of Port Charles are about to be blown wide open, and the Corinthos family will never be the same again. Keep your eyes peeled, because the real game is just beginning.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.